Many of us as children have gone through experiences in which we have expressed big emotions, big feelings, and along our journey have been denied or have been told that those feelings or those emotions aren't acceptable. And so, what do? We suppress and repress those feelings, those emotions, those parts of ourselves that we deem to be unlovable, unworthy, and unsafe to express. We push them into what we call our shadow. And our lives begin to take form in which we pretend, we perform, we polish our personalities so that we can be liked, so we can be loved, so we can be chosen, all while exiling the most vulnerable, the most honest, the most authentic parts of who we are. But here's the truth, those parts that have been pushed away, they don't just go away, they don't just disappear, they become our shadows. And in this video, I want to share an extremely vulnerable story, an experience that I had just last night, where I was brought into the depth of my own shadow. And of course, I've navigated this realm for a very long time, but there are still parts of myself that are wanting to be reconciled, to be recalibrated and brought back into wholeness. So this is a very personal video, and if you like what you hear, if you are enjoying the content on this channel, I just ask you to hit the like button, to subscribe, and let's do this. So I want to get real with you. Last night I was up pretty much the entire night. I did not sleep at all, and I was sent into a very shadowy and dark realm within my own inner world. And although I'm pretty accustomed by now to navigating these realms, they're still intimidating. There's still anxiety and fear that comes up. But it was about, I don't know, 10:30 at night. I was just winding down and getting ready to go to sleep when I was hit with this wave of anxiety, and where I was taken to the dungeon of my own psyche, where I saw very clearly an image of the little boy within me. And this little boy was sitting in a corner and he was quivering, he was shaking, he was scared, and he didn't know where to go or where to turn. And I had walked up to him in my mind's eye and I sat beside him, and I can feel this sense of tension that began to rush through my body, this sense of unease, this low humming anxiety that really, when I tune into myself, into my body, has always been there. And if I reflect back on my entire life experience over the past 38 years on this planet, that there's been very few and far moments in my life that I've actually felt safe in my existence, in my body. And the paradox is that this planet, this earth, feels very familiar in the sense that I've been here many times before, that I've walked these lands, that I've connected with these people, and at the same time it still feels foreign. And there's this homesickness that comes over me when I tune into it, of missing my roots, my origin, my star people. And that might be another conversation for another time, but I bring that up because overall, throughout my life, there's been hypervigilance, this hyperactivity in which it feels like my nervous system is always on. And of course, I have beautiful practices like breath work, like yin yoga, things that I teach and share and also practice myself, that have been supportive in this journey. But still, in the day to day existence, I can feel this unease and this tension, this lack of true safety in my life. And of course, we can easily chalk this up to childhood experiences of maybe not having the most emotionally supported home, where there was a lot of big feelings, big emotions being thrown around. And that is definitely an aspect to it. But as I dug deeper, I realized that there is this sort of genetic makeup within myself, and we can, of course, label it and box it into certain things. One may say ADHD, and I would definitely say that there's been expressions and signs of that legitimately, and how that's impacted my life, and how I've actually been a very um, I guess, very highly masked person, in the sense that um, I, on the outside, look extremely productive, which I am. I've built a very successful business, and I've been able to turn my dreams into a reality. But a lot of this has been under the guise of overworking, of performing, of achieving, of wanting to reach this certain level. And of course, that in itself, that quest or that journey, has brought me into some very deep places within myself. And being where I'm at in my journey, in my career, in my purpose work, where I'm supporting individuals in their own transformation, well, naturally, this is going to call more of myself up, and I'm accustomed to that. I know that whenever I'm leveling up, there's more shadows to be revealed. There's more things within myself that are wanting to come to the forefront, because in order to stay in integrity with the work that I do, I must be in integrity with myself. And going back to this experience that I had last night, it started to take me deeper into this realm of not feeling safe in myself and my existence in my body, where I oftentimes would have very much a reaction of gripping onto life and trying to control life. And there's been many moments in which I've been able to then let go and relax into the flow. But I would say more of my existence has been in the fear and the gripping and the controlling. And beneath all of this sat this core wound of rejection, and this core wound of rejection that says that maybe it's not safe to be me, so I need to over glamorize myself in certain areas. And when I say rejection, there was even a deeper context to this, where it was the rejection of the feminine, both within myself, uh, which definitely has improved over the years, but on the outside as well, in which oftentimes I found these patterns in my relationship where I would try to protect myself, or to bend the truth in some ways, or manipulate the truth to protect myself from rejection. And this sort of coping mechanism and behavior, which was acting as sort of a protector part, has sort of created some level of chaos at times in my personal and intimate relationships. But of course, having awareness over this over the years, there's been an sort of improvement in that. But these protector parts, these shadows that live within us, they don't just disappear. They're looking for love. And this is the essence of shadow work. You may have heard this term before by Carl Jung, who sort of coined this whole realm of shadow work and going into the psyche in this way, shining a light on the darkness. And we've sort of been accustomed in our culture to be conditioned into the sense where we've deemed the shadow to be this dark, evil, wrong thing, when it's just a part of ourselves that we've exiled, we've suppressed, we've denied, because it wasn't safe to be fully expressed. And I can remember even thinking back as a child, like there were certain emotions that I couldn't express without perhaps receiving some level of response that maybe was perceived to be negative, and anger or frustration. And so I learned to keep things to myself, as I know many of you have who are watching this video. And so when we do that, we are protecting ourselves. And over time, these parts of ourselves, they start to bubble up from beneath the surface. And, maybe as a child, you yourself, you were too emotional or too loud or too sensitive or too honest, whatever you were labeled by your parents and society. So you've learned to hide that, and your nervous system, in its brilliance, created strategies to survive, like lying, like distracting, like overachieving, like numbing, like hoarding, like people pleasing. All of these are strategies from our nervous system to protect ourselves and to stay what we call safe. But really, we're just operating in a place of survival. And so here's the truth: your shadow is not here to sabotage you, it's here to protect you. And until you meet those parts of yourself with love, with compassion, with grace, it will continue to run your life from behind the scenes. So looking back on my experiences, I can see how this shadow, for me personally, what I went into, was showing up everywhere in every aspect of my life, in my inability to slow down, in my compulsive thoughts, in my inconsistent relationship with money, even how I related to success. And so all of this was just really, it's desiring to come to the surface to be seen and illuminated. And when things are illuminated, we can choose in that moment to not avoid them any longer, but bring compassion to ourselves. And I just sat there with my eyes closed, with my arms wrapped around me in this moment of silence, and just repeated to this little boy, "You're okay, you're okay, you're okay. You're safe, you're safe, you're safe. I'm here for you." And just feeling the tears rush down my face as I was holding myself in these moments is quite powerful. And so, really, I share this because if you're going through a moment where there's uncomfortable things that are arising within you, it's really important to face these fully and to go into the experience of being with whatever is showing up. Because when you can fully be with it, when you can fully feel it, then things begin to transform themselves. We stop judging it and we then move into it. So, the first step in any shadow work process is that number one, it's to pause and witness. When a trigger arises or you notice an old pattern that's coming up, pause and ask, what part of me is trying to protect me right now? Because inevitably there's a protector part buried within that has been sort of the guard or the knight of your kingdom, of your queendom, and that's been sort of as a gatekeeper, so you can stay somewhat safe on the inside, or perceived to be safe on the inside. But this is inevitably sabotaging you. So what part of me is trying to protect me right now? Ask yourself that. That's step one. Step two, connect and name it. Give that part a name, a voice, an image. You know, it could be anything, a persona. But when we begin to put a voice, an image, a name to it, we begin to bring it into illumination and work through our own imagery to then sit with this part of ourselves and ask it questions. And really what it wants is not to be pushed away, but it wants to be validated. And so this is where we get into step three, which is validating and reparenting. So let this part know that you're not wrong, you're not bad. You were always doing the best that you could. And I respect that. Thanking this part for keeping me safe to some degree. But inevitably, this part needs to be integrated back into the whole. So after meeting this part, after meeting these emotions, after meeting these shadows, you gain the power to choose in that moment. Do you react or do you tell the truth? Do you relax into the feeling, into the experience, and know that these parts of you that are expressing themselves, that are wanting to share, they are here for your benefit. They're here for your greater good. And when we can see them as such, everything begins to change. So it doesn't mean that, you're going to do this once and then you're going to be great. You're integrated back into wholeness. No, this is an ongoing process that comes. But the more you go into it, the more you begin to see it from a higher vantage point, and you don't get so caught in it, because it's not here to trap you. It's here to free you. That's what the shadow is here for. Inevitably, at the end of the day, it is here to liberate you. And so when we can ease and go fully into our darkness and fully into the experience, the fullness, the depth of our humanness, that is when we can truly step into a space in which we are fully empowered. And so this is the moment. This is the time. Doing this work is the most crucial and beneficial work that you can do for yourself, for your relationships. And really, it's about taking full accountability and responsibility for who you are in every given moment, for the choices that you make. And if there's choices that you make that seem to be mistakes, it's just about forgiving oneself. Sure, we can get into the shame and the guilt loop, but when we can just truly forgive ourselves, yeah, I could have made a better choice there, but the choice was made. It was what it was. I take responsibility for it, and now I move on. And so, if this video spoke to something inside of you, let me know in the comments below. Drop a comment. Let me know how you feel. What part of your shadow is asking to be met with love right now? And if you're ready to dive deeper into this work, there's so many ways to do this. Of course, breath work is one of my favorites. We have an entire catalog of journeys on our Beats and Breath app. You can go and explore the realm of emotions, the depth of yourself through the power of sonic breath work. And I also have many workshops, many opportunities to engage with me, both in group and one-on-one settings. My website is below if you want to dive deeper. And until next time, sending you lots of love, peace, and positive energy.